Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome to all of you on the Special Needs Children podcast. I have with us very beautiful young women, Gopika Kapoor and Moneisha Gandhi. Thank you so much, Gopika and Moneisha, for agreeing to do this with me. Thanks a ton for willing to share your journey. Both of you are amazing individuals, advocates for your kids and for many children, and hope to in this short span of time understand what all you have done, and big cheer to understand what you have done with your new app called the Buddy app. So moving on to introduce both of you formally. Gopika is mom to Vir, and she's someone who works with neurodivergent adults and families. She's a narrative practice therapist and has also written a beautiful book called Beyond the Blue, Love, Life and Autism on her parenting experience. That's one of the best things that I have read, Gopika.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Moneisha, she formerly ran an embroidery export company as a business owner and currently volunteers at Umeed's Child Development Center. Both are co-founders of Buddy app and both are advocates for diversity and inclusion. And in this episode, we will be requesting them to share about their personal experiences with their children who are now adults, and also about what are their plans of this wonderful thing that they've set up. So can I please start with both of you that will you please share how has been the journey till now?
So yeah, I'm the mom of 2 kids. My daughter is, well, they're not kids anymore. My daughter is just turned 18 and my son just turned 20. So I'm the mother of 2 young adults. My son has Down syndrome. It was an at-birth diagnosis, complete shock to us. We were totally shattered when we heard the news. I'd kind of describe it literally like, a dagger going through my heart. It was literally that kind of experience at his birth. But very quickly, as we started educating ourselves and we started reading up and finding out more about what our path was going to be ahead, we kind of just decided, okay, this is, what we've got to do. We've got to be the best parents to him that we can. And today, sitting back and looking back at these 20 years, I wouldn't have it any other way. He's just been an absolute delight. Having him has taught us so much and kind of turned on its head so many things that we used, sort of beliefs that we held about what was important. So I would say that it has just been fantastic, and so I'm really enjoyed it. And, as a parent, we've had to obviously relearn things, go into completely new areas, and sort of advocacy has just become second nature as a mom.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chitra, for having us here, and thank you for calling us young women. My journey started when I have twins, a boy and a girl. And from the time when they were little, obviously there were comparisons made, right? And so my son Vir would be in his own world, happy to be by himself, and we would in fact marvel at how beautifully he was playing by himself. My daughter was the chatterbox. She would be much more social, and every time a comparison was made, that whole boys will be boys, right? I mean, in the sense, boys talk late, it's all right, he's a boy, boys anyway develop slower than girls initially. That kind of, stuff was given to us. And I think I always knew that there was a difference between them. But I think I let all those voices kind of soothe me into saying, it's all right. It's all right. This is who he is, and it's fine. Ironically, it was a movie that changed life for us. Tare Zameen Par had come out. There were tons of articles being written about dyslexia at that time, and a lot of those characteristics matched with what Vir had, where they talked about this is how you identify dyslexia. And so I reached out to Dr. Vibha Krishnamurthy at Umeed, and said I wanted an appointment. And I remember very clearly, we went in there fully aware that, fully prepared rather, that we would get a diagnosis of dyslexia. And when she sat us down, we were late for the appointment, I remember, because we couldn't find the place. And she sat us down and she said, it's autism. And we had no idea what autism was. And it was like Moneisha is saying, a dagger through the heart. It was like the ground had just dropped from under my feet. I don't remember anything after that. Just that very cold feeling, that what are we going to do? Our life has changed from this day forth. I think what we didn't realize at that point of time is just how rich life would be. How much this boy has brought to our lives, how much he has changed our perspectives, how much we have learned to appreciate just the little things in life. And like Moneisha said, I would not change things for the world. He's just been the biggest blessing. And all of us, me, my husband, my daughter, me, our extended family, he's just touched all our lives in such amazing ways. He's constantly teaching us how to be. And today, the way he is, he's out with his friends a lot. We hardly see him. He runs, he sings, he dances, he bakes, he does puzzles, he works out. He's got these big rippling muscles. And I look at him and I just marvel at how far he's come.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah, I would say, exactly the same thing with Mihaan. He's kind of, just what you think of, you've kind of, at that point, you think your life is over and it's just anything but, right? It's just a new beginning. And he's also been one of those whose kids that has surprised us at every step, like every, thing that we thought that he couldn't do, he's kind of managed to do. And we've been like pleasantly kind of surprised as to, what is possible. So yeah, it's been amazing. It's kind of
True. Absolutely, it's been life-changing, and like you said, so much of learning, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know if what would have happened. Could have been life would have been so much different had our kids not been there in our lives. So what prompted Buddy Up? And can you please first share what is Buddy Up, why, and how did it happen?
So my son went to an inclusive school and he had a bunch of friends. He's very social, very chatty, very social, and really kind of thrives in company. And I kind of anticipated a time when his classmates were going to move on and, go off to college. And, he was going to be following a different path from them. And I started kind of worrying about a time when he would have this vacuum in his life. So in anticipation of this, when he was around 13, I actually started actively looking for friends for him. And I said, I need somebody in his age group who kind of maybe likes the similar things that he likes, preferably someone who's not too far away, maybe in the neighborhood, or at least someone that I can do a physical meetup with. And I actually started looking for people in his age group, and I really didn't know where to look. And I actually looked up, I remember going on some Facebook sites, I remember going here, and then I actually wondered, was there an app like something like this? Was there a platform like this? But there wasn't. So then I started sending feelers around, and I asked Vibha Krishnamurthy, who's the founder of Ummeed and also a friend. I said, Vibha, do you know any young people Mihaan's age that kind of would be a good fit to be a friend for him? And then Vir was one of the names that she suggested.
Wow.
And we, Gopika and I met, and then our boys met, and they clicked, and then we realized, why isn't there an app like this, right? Why isn't there some platform? Everybody doesn't have a Vibha to go to, right? Who just pulls out a database of. So we thought, there should really ideally should be a platform for people to make social connections, because we do know that loneliness is rampant. People feel isolated, not just young people, but caregivers too feel isolated. So there should be a platform for people to find each other. And so, that was the sort of inspiration behind the app.
So unlike Mihaan, Vir is being on the spectrum, was not social. And honestly, socializing him was so stressful for me, because at that time, if you remember, they used to tell us those structured play dates, right? So you come in, you do this, you have one activity, you have a second activity, you have a snack, and then you go home. Literally, it was like that, and so these kids would come in and I would be on edge because I would wonder what Veer would do, and would he wander off and go and play by himself? That child would inevitably end up playing with Gayatri, my daughter, and it was so stressful. At the end of it, I would be disheartened. I would be exhausted from the stress. So I said, forget it. The social will sort itself out later at some point of time. So I said, okay, let it go. Veer went through school and, he had some friends in school, but not a huge amount. But then I started worrying because by then, they were both teenagers. And being twins, there's a complete comparison, right, between the two. And Gayatri would be going out. She would be going out to parties. She would be go out with friends. And even though he didn't say anything, I knew the day would come when he would say, why am I not going out? Why am I stuck at home with my friends or without any friends? And I didn't want it to be a situation where he would be with us and we were his only friends, right? He had to have that peer group where he could go and just be a part of a group. And that was something which would really worry me. But I said, okay, we'll sort it out. We'll figure it out and see how it goes. I had also read a study which said that as autistic people age and they get into the teenage years, suddenly some social button comes on, right? And they suddenly start discovering this social aspect of themselves. And I was hoping that that would happen, right? And that he would want to socialize. At that time, he seemed pretty happy to be by himself. And so then Vibha suggested, she said, why don't you meet Mihaan? And despite her suggesting this, do you know, it took us 1.5 years to find, to finally meet. And we live 6 kilometers apart. It's not like we live very far apart or in different cities or anything like that. But even then, it took us 1.5 years to actually plan the meeting. I have to admit, maybe it was a little bit of hesitation on my side because I said, oh God, this is going to be one more, stressful situation. But finally they met. And when they met, it was really quite amazing because they had baked some cookies which were really bad tasting. And they met, and then Mihaan cracked some joke and Veer started laughing, and suddenly you could see like it was, it was like some sort of spark had lit up. And then they met again and again cooked something which tasted really bad. It was, because again, that whole thing of doing an activity. So they met and they said, this kind of happened. And then the more they started meeting, it was really amazing to see how this happened. And then, like Moneisha said, we said, why not extend this to other people? Why not help them find a larger group as well as extend it to other people? And so that is how Buddy Up was born. So Buddy Up, like you were saying, what is it? Buddy Up Network, as it is called, is a social platform for people with disabilities. It is for people of all disabilities as well as those experiencing loneliness and isolation. So, we do have included people with cancer, people who are with HIV, because those are also conditions which cause isolation, and it is for people of all ages. So, it could be for younger children, it could be for adults, it could be for people who are 80 years old, it could be for any age. It is also for their caregivers because again, like Moneisha said, the caregivers also experience a lot of isolation. And of course, we have taken into consideration safety and security. So, it is not for people who are under the age of 18. If there are caregivers, if they are under the age of 18, their caregivers make a profile and sign on. Otherwise, if you're over the age of 18, if the person is over the age of 18 and the caregiver still feels that they are vulnerable, then we want a responsible adult to make the account and operate it on their behalf. But otherwise, anybody across India, living anywhere, anybody with a disability can access this app and look for the app throws up. It's very simple. You make a profile, fill in some information, app basis on an algorithm throws up suggestions, and then you can also search for friends and chat with them on the app.
Right. So, basically, any phone, you go into the App Store or you go into the Play Store and you look for Buddy Up.
Yeah, just look for Buddy Up Network.
Yeah.
Buddy Up Network, and
Yeah. So this is how it looks, right? This is how the Buddy Up looks. And it shows very clearly that, how you can connect. So what about language? Do you think that suppose someone wishes to connect in the second tier, 2 tier, 3 tier, 4 tier, anybody, if we we would love that this podcast reaches everyone, and with people sharing it further, we know that people should come on this, and they can, like you said, even if you're 6 kilometers apart, you may well be there, and you still don't know that, there is somebody. So that gives a parent a chance, a caregiver a chance to see that, okay, I can do this.
there may be somebody right next door that I didn't know about.
Right. So one question, going back to when you all initially, Mihaan and Vir met, how often would they meet?
I think once a week maybe, or
Yeah, we tried
once
to
every
do it
10 days.
once a week.
Yeah.
Then I think they met, and then it was kind of during lockdown. It was like one of the open.
Yeah, it was one of the. So I think they met, and then there was a long period where they
Couldn't.
meet, and I think they used to message, if I'm not mistaken.
They started
Yeah.
messaging.
That's what I wanted to know. That did they start off immediately going on to their phones and chatting?
Yeah, I think yes. I think the messaging started very early. I think with a lot of, I find with a lot of neurodivergent people that are phone savvy, that comfort level with the
They're
phone is
much
quite
safer.
good. So it's
They're
a
more
good way to
comfortable doing it.
establish, a connection
rapport,
slowly, and then.
So once somebody registers on the app,
Yeah.
right? Then I've seen that what happens next?
So they make a profile.
Right.
They make the profile, and just to digress slightly, the question you were asking earlier about reaching tier 2, 3 cities. So you have the option to toggle between English and Hindi.
Hindi.
So both languages are available. So they download the app, and the first thing you are supposed to do when you log in is to make a profile. So you fill in you have 2 streams. You are either a self user, so you're a person with a disability who is using the app for themselves, or you're a caregiver. And then you create your profile, you put in your username, date of birth, there's a phone number you put in, and you get an OTP just to prevent fake accounts, and you sign on. And then you fill in your information, disability, interests, what you're seeking. We have the option of online friendship. We have the option of caregivers looking for friends. So you fill in all that information. You can upload a picture. It's not mandatory at all. And you can give in a little information. And then as soon as that happens, you get suggested profiles. So based on your age and your location, the algorithm will throw up profiles
interests
for
as well.
yourself. Yeah, your interests, sorry. And so it throws up profiles. So you can click into their profiles and you can send them a request. You can buddy up with them, just similarly like you would with any other
Social
kind
app.
of social media app. You can also search. So you can search based on age range, distance from you, interest, disability. We actually really recommend that people don't click the disability option, keep it open, because we have seen that across disability friendship works so beautifully.
Actually, it's much better, that way.
Example,
Yeah.
we can see how
I completely agree.
they're totally different.
It
and in
has
fact,
to
they
be.
complement
It's
each
better
other.
that it's that way, because the skill set or
Correct.
communication skills or interests, everything is varied, and it manages and the complementing happens
Correct.
very well.
Yeah, so that's been quite fantastic. Yeah, so for a caregiver who's on Buddy Up network on the app, they can also go to the search page, and they can actually, in this case, maybe search by disability if they want to, if they're looking for some specific support around their own child's disability. So maybe they would go and tick mark, say, autism and 10 kilometers, and they would be able to pull up, different caregiver profiles in their small radius. So then they could look at the different profiles of the young people that the caregivers are there for. So maybe, parent of a 6-year-old child with autism might want to reach out to another 6-year-old child, or they may also want to meet out to the parent of an 18-year-old to see, okay, what is the road ahead like, So Buddy Up therefore allows caregivers to make those connects by using that search function. They could also just search for other general caregivers of other disability related accounts to maybe, you find enough parents and you can then make a sort of a local group, right? I mean, so you can find, but how do you find those parents without a platform? What tends to happen is that lots of WhatsApp groups exist for caregivers, but people are not there for the purpose of a connection. They're there for other things. Here, the caregivers are there for expressly that purpose. They're there for a social connection. So it kind of works nicely because you can state your intent and you can also find people in your area or around or say you are a caregiver of a young person who is obsessed by some particular game and you want to find
Somebody
another
else who can play.
person to find who will be also interested. So you could find another account for your young person based off that interest.
Like you all shared about baking.
Correct.
Both of them are interested, or somebody. Sometimes I've come across parents who say that, hey, is there something where we can go for dance, or we can go for music, or we can go attend shows, go watch a movie. So all of these interest-based things, caregivers can actually pick up, and it becomes the support group automatically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So so that's as far as so the app. I mean, as when we were kind of building the app, the biggest concerns, we did a lot of research before we started. We did a lot of focus groups of young people and caregivers, both, because we actually have two groups on the app, right? We have caregivers and we have self-users. So we kind of talked to both groups about what kind of things they would like in an app like this. And obviously the biggest concern, really one of the biggest concerns, was safety. So for that we we put in what we feel are important safety features. Obviously there's a two-step verification, so there can't be fake accounts. You don't, your profile, while you do fill in your phone number and you fill in your address and all of that, that information is not made public. So all that information is private. So you can chat with complete anonymity in the app. You don't need to share any external contact details until you've chatted enough and feel totally comfortable and you say, okay, now this person seems genuine after a long period of chatting. We've also added a video call feature within the chat. It's just for 1 minute, really, as a safety feature. So you can, see face to face who is it that you're chatting with, because somebody may be pretending to be an 18-year-old when they're a 40-year-old. You can quickly do a quick video verification. So that exists. And then we also have the ability for the app to be accessed with by a caregiver and a young person simultaneously, so that sometimes a caregiver may say, okay, my young person is actually over the age of 18 and can operate the app independently, but they're not ready to do it so independently that without my without my sort of being able to look at what's going on to make sure that they're safe. So the parent can use the same login details and be an observer. So that's also possible in terms of that additional safety, so they can be assured that the young person is on the app, but they can be kind of keeping an eye on.
That's wonderful, because of all the AI related stuff also that's coming up, and people being really paranoid, and we have to be extremely safe for our children.
Correct. So that was
this is excellent.
A big sort of concern for us, and these are the things that we have felt like will be there too. And of course there's extensive community guidelines. You can block somebody. If somebody is annoying you, you can block them. If somebody says something inappropriate to you and you feel like, okay, or you feel threatened in any way, you can report them and then we would take action. So all of those things are also there. If I've missed anything.
So also, I think in addition to safety, what we really paid a lot of attention to was the accessibility. And so we had somebody who is tests apps for especially the visually impaired community. So he came in, he tested the app. Every time we do an upgrade, he tests that upgrade to make sure that it has screen readers. Some people from the visually impaired community wrote in, or people with low vision, they wrote in and said, can you please enable dark mode so that it's easier for us to be able to read the app and to be able to read all the features. So we enabled that. Then again, we had lots of requests coming in saying, we find typing a little hard, and now there are voice notes. So can you please enable the voice note feature? So we've introduced the voice note feature in the chat. So you can just use a voice note to be able to send a message. So all those features are things which we've used to be able to make sure that the app is accessible. The person who's done our testing is a very, very smart young man who's visually impaired, and he has declared that the app is 90% accessible, which we are very pleased about. But every time we do an upgrade, because as you know, apps, this is a constant feature, right? You have to constantly upgrade, you have to constantly see how to improve features based on user feedback, based on other ideas that you have. And so every time an upgrade is done, again, it goes through his testing, and he makes sure that it is all covered under the accessibility testing. So all those features have also been taken.
Brilliant. So how many are now currently using? How many families, adults?
I think as
Individuals.
of today, I mean, we keep looking at the figures, but I think we have about 2,200
Wow, that's fabulous.
people on the
That's
app.
fantastic.
We need to get to the tens of thousands, because for a social
sure,
app
yeah,
to
yeah.
be, really dynamic, and currently what some people come and tell us, oh, we don't find that many connections, but it's because the app is new. It's like, just a couple of months old, and those numbers, as they grow, everybody will be able to find connections in
So
there.
it's both of you who are completely in watching.
It's the two of us, and we've got a tech team, in the sense that team, we've got our developer who is our partner, who's made the app, and there are two interns who are wonderful, who are helping us with the app. And we've also got, actually, recently we've got two interns, one of whom is a friend of our son's, who's a very bright young woman, and with a disability. She's helping us with a bit of content curation. And very recently we've got a young college girl who's helping us with social media and again, kind of outreach. And so we'd be trying to get young people who would be interested in working on a startup, and they're much more plugged in than we are, right? I mean, they know exactly what kind of reels to make and what should go up on social media and stuff like that. So we've got, that's a very, very small team, but essentially that's it.
Lovely. So what's the future? Like what all are the plans for Buddy Up? And
So, as Gopika just said, with an app, it's constantly work in
Evolving.
progress. The work is never done. You're constantly getting feedback. People write in, and one of the feedback that we were now considering is, a lot of people have said that friends is one aspect that we are looking at, but we're also looking at maybe relationships. So we're thinking maybe add a relationship vertical, maybe add a dating vertical. Because there are, older people on the app that are also looking for that.
And also our main user base is between the ages of 20 to 30.
correct, which is exactly where they would find
Not just self-users, even caregivers.
looking for.
Take into caregiver populations, they are expressing, each parent wants their young person to be happy, right? And if their young adult is expressing that they want to have a partner, the caregivers also want that for their young person. So that's something that we've been kind of thinking about.
And yeah, we've also got requests from different parts of the world, strongly from the UAE, people in Canada writing to us, people in the UK. Is there an app like this? Please, can you bring it to the UK?
Super.
To
So then it
Dubai,
broadens the horizon
to
completely.
Sweden, Singapore. So we are working on making sure
Great.
or trying to take the app international. So even if people can't, of course, right now our largest user base is in the metro cities of India. So Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi is the largest base. There are people in other parts of the country, but again, I just met somebody yesterday who said, I'm from Goa and I'm really trying to find friends. I said, you know what, it's still growing, give it time. But people who from other countries can maybe just have an online friendship with someone who's from India.
Like our visually impaired tester was saying, I would love to connect with other visually impaired individuals who might be in another country and just find out what their experience is. And so, yeah, so that's, I mean, there's a lot to be done. So we'll take it one step at a time. But
Yeah.
these are all possibilities for the
Yeah. I mean, it opens up so many things, no? Like once you do one thing, it leads you to this, and then this leads to that, and it's great that while our kids are also getting the biggest opportunity. The problem today is has always been till now that you can't actually reach out to somebody. There will be people who might say that friendship क्यों करना है? You don't know what all kind of mindsets people come with, and then the scare, the fear, like you also expressed, of a parent saying that don't know how they would behave with somebody. Overcoming all of these fears, I think the best way is what you have designed, that at least do it online.
yes.
Get
Exactly.
friendly first there,
Totally.
see how the vibe is there, and then move to a physical environment. You've given that opportunity to every single person, and I just hope that everybody takes advantage of it. I would strongly request everyone that even if you're not thinking about it, just go register on the app, right? Just register and see what is happening. Both Gopika and Moneisha explained so beautifully that the intention is for your person to find a friend. Okay, maybe in the future it will lead to many more things also. But till you don't actually do it, you don't know what's in it for you, right? And all of your doubts and fears, you can keep overcoming them as it progresses.
Yeah,
and
I mean, we have an open, conversation with, people that can write into us, ask us questions, clarify their doubts. We're most happy to,
yeah, so if 2000 people, imagine, have already signed up in just a couple of months, what are you waiting for? Is all that I would say. That you should rush in and register yourself. Figure out it's open for everyone, as you spelled out. It's for anybody who has any kind of a need in terms of a disability or even otherwise in terms of illnesses. But please get on there. Don't feel alone. Don't feel isolated. And just keep budding up. That's all I can say. Thank you so much to both of you for having such a beautifully engaging conversation, for having shared everything right from the bottom of your heart, and all the very best to both your bachas, always to Vir and Mihaan, and to the siblings.
thank
It's not easy, it's not an easy journey, but without everybody being there together, I don't think any of us would be where we are. So thanks a ton, and wishing you all the best going forward from here with Vadia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.